What if I told you the most terrifying moment in any relationship isn't the screaming, not the accusations, not even the betrayal? It's the silence that arrives when an empath finally stops caring. Stay with me, because what happens next rewrites everything you think you know about emotional power. Carl Jung discovered something most people never understand until it's too late. He said, every psyche has a breaking point, not where it collapses, but where it transforms. And nowhere is this more visible than in an empath who reaches their limit. You see, people mistake an empath's compassion for an infinite resource, but Jung revealed something far more profound and far more dangerous. According to Jung, the psyche operates through psychological compensation. When something is suppressed for too long, it doesn't disappear. It turns into its opposite. The empath who gives too much, loves too deeply, endures too long, eventually reaches what Jung called enantiodromia, the moment where everything flips. And when an empath stops caring, it isn't slow, it's absolute, because this isn't exhaustion, it's awakening. Jung observed that empaths live in constant emotional labor. They carry their own pain and everyone else's. They feel tension before words are spoken. They absorb suffering, believing they can heal what others refuse to face. But Jung understood something critical. This is not sustainable. And when the breaking point comes, it's not a breakdown, it's a breakthrough. Because when an empath stops caring, they aren't becoming cold, they're becoming whole. They finally integrate what Jung called the shadow, the part that knows how to say no, the part that understands not everyone deserves access to their heart, the part that recognizes emotional vampires for what they are. According to Jung's theory of individuation, there comes a moment when a person must choose themselves. For most people, this happens naturally. For empaths, it feels like betrayal. They've been conditioned to believe that self-care is selfish. But Jung warned that self-abandonment is the greatest violence we commit against our own psyche. And when an empath finally stops committing that violence, they don't lose empathy, they gain boundaries. Here's where everything changes. Jung said the most powerful transformations happen in a single moment of clarity. One moment, the empath is still trying, still hoping, still pouring energy into bottomless wells. The next moment, they stop. No anger, no drama, just what Jung called psychological sovereignty. They see clearly for the first time, and clarity is irreversible. According to Jung, real strength isn't enduring mistreatment. It's refusing to participate in your own diminishment. When an empath stops caring, they're not giving up on others. They're finally showing up for themselves. And here's the part most manipulators fear. Jung observed that manipulators depend on the empath's compassion for control, guilt, hope, responsibility. But when the empath reaches emotional detachment, the entire dynamic collapses. The guilt no longer lands. The love bombing feels hollow. The manipulation becomes obvious. The empath develops what Jung called psychological immunity. They don't hate their betrayer. They see them accurately, without hope, without illusion, without the belief that love can fix what refuses to heal. Jung called this radical acceptance, and it is freedom. The final transformation is this: indifference born from wisdom, not apathy born from exhaustion. When an empath stops caring, they don't become cruel. They become unavailable. They stop explaining. They stop defending. They stop proving their pain. They reach what Jung called psychological completion, where their identity no longer requires validation. And that, according to Carl Jung, is when an empath becomes truly powerful, not because they will hurt you, but because they will walk away. And this time, no apology will reach them. No promise will pull them back. No manipulation will work. They've stopped caring. And in that moment, they found something more valuable than any relationship that required self-betrayal. They found themselves. This is what happens when an empath finally stops caring. And once you understand it, you'll realize their caring was never weakness. It was a gift. And when that gift is withdrawn, what remains is the most powerful force of all. Someone who finally chose themselves. If this message resonated with you, it means you're awakening to a deeper truth. Subscribe to Facts Wisdom for psychology, self-mastery, and truths that set you free.